Hello, and welcome to the second episode of our Pharmacy Calculations practice series, where we cover a series of advanced pharmacy calculations that are similar to what you might see on the pharmacy technician certification exam. So the hypothetical question that we're going to address today is one that tells you need to make a 1 liter bag of 0.9% sodium chloride solution using a 23.4% sodium chloride vial, and how much sterile water is needed. And the first point I'm going to make is that it's really important that you read these questions carefully when you're taking the PTCE, because it can be easy to misunderstand the question. And here what they're specifically asking you is how much sterile water is needed. So ultimately, when you're selecting your multiple choice answer for this, that is the question that you are answering. But you need all this other information to solve it. Now there's a couple different ways that you could solve this. One would be using the allegation method. I'm going to show you a different method because it'll allow us to go through a few different conversions, and I think it's really good practice for the exam when many of the calculation questions you're going to see require multiple steps and knowledge of unit conversions. Now the first thing I would probably do for this one is figure out how much sodium chloride would be in that 1 liter bag at a 0.9% concentration. And to be able to do that, you need to know what concentration, percentage concentration means. So percentage concentration in an example like this is weight per volume. And that is always going to represent how many grams are in 100 milliliters of solution. So if we have 0.9 grams of sodium chloride per 100 ml, that's what 0.9% means. We need to know how many grams are going to be in 1,000 mLs. And in our course, I always teach using proportions set up like this to solve for an unknown variable when you have a conversion. So we're converting from 0.9 grams to 100 per 100 milliliters to how many grams that would be per 1,000 milliliters at the same concentration. And to set up proportions consistently, I always recommend putting the unknown variable in the numerator on the right-hand side. And just remember on the left-hand side, you put what you know, and the units have to be consistent. So we'll keep grams in the numerator, we'll keep volume in the denominator. And to solve via cross multiplication, you always take that left-hand side, so it's 0.9 grams divided by 100 milliliters, and then multiplied by the denominator on the right, so multiplied by 1,000 milliliters. And when you do this in this manner, you actually cancel out the unit that's in the denominator, and you wind up with grams in this example. This is a pretty simple one to solve. We don't really need a calculator for this. That's going to give us 9 grams total. So if we're going to have a 1 liter bag of 0.9% sodium chloride, we're going to need 9 grams of sodium chloride. So now that we know we need 9 grams of sodium chloride, we need to know how much of that 23.4% sodium chloride solution will provide us with 9 grams. Now again, this time we're going to need to solve for volume. So we need the volume of that 23.4% sodium chloride solution. So I'm going to set up another proportion with the volume in the upper right-hand side. So we're solving for X mLs per 9 grams, and you'll understand this in a second, which is how much total sodium chloride we need. On the left-hand side, we're going to put what we know. Now, we know we have a 23.4% solution. And what does that mean? That means we're going to have 23.4 grams per 100 milliliters. I wrote it like this because I need to keep the units consistent with the right-hand side. And I really believe in doing this because, again, consistency is the key. Even if it takes you a little longer to solve, you'll be less prone to make a mistake. So to solve this, I won't write this out again, but we'll take, and I'm going to bust out my calculator here, 100 milliliters divided by 23.4 grams multiplied by 9 grams. And that's going to give us for that X here, 38, and I'm going to round this 0.5 milliliters. So we know this is the volume of the 23.4% solution that we need to make that 1 liter bag. Now that we know that, and we know we need to make a 1,000 milliliter bag, because 1,000 milliliters is equivalent to 1 liter, we just take 1,000 milliliters and subtract that 38.5 milliliters. And that is going to leave us with an answer of 961.5 milliliters. Now the answers may be rounded to the nearest milliliter, in which case the answer may be 962, but that should be obvious to you as you're picking your multiple choice questions. So the answer to this question is you would need 961.5 milliliters of sterile water to make this solution if you're using a 23.4% sodium chloride vial for your sodium source. Now, if this was confusing to anybody, or if you want to see this done a different way, please reach out to us. Our contact information is seen here on the slide, so you can catch us on Facebook at this URL, or you can send us an email at info@pharmacytechscholar.com, or you can browse directly to our website and you'll see a Contact Us tab there. And if you have any other questions you'd like to see represented, feel free to shoot us a message. You can comment on our YouTube page on this video, and we'll be happy to provide the best explanation that we can.